back, DNA Strand crew, to the newest episode of Stardom Sit 'em Saturday here on the Dynasty DNA Podcasting Network. I'm your host, TJ Blake. You can follow me over on Twitter at FFTJBlakeDNA. And we're joined by my right-handed man. I'll tell you what right now, I mean, if the Dynasty DNA crew, was looking to fill a cabinet, we got all the spaces filled because he would be in my cabinet for sure. He's one of my top picks. It's my good friend and great fantasy analyst in his own right, Justin Teeserja. You can follow him on Twitter at TheShara91. And as everyone knows, better known as Teixeira. That's how everyone on the channel knows our friend Teixeira. Are you ready for Stardom Sit 'em Saturday week 4? We've really done a pretty nice job across the board, giving a lot of good start-sit options throughout the week. And, we talk about it. We're trying to help people win championships. That's what this is all about. But you ready to talk some week 4 here?
You know me, TJ. I'm always ready to burn down a glacier and put the meltdown on some of these guys and raise up the ones I believe in. And, I'm a ride or die kind of guy. I have my players I really love.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Teixeira. We thank you for being here. And you know what? Honestly, right now, let me just say this. Wiz himself is going to be crapping his pants because he knows that the Glacier Glazer is all but gone. And you know what? That's his fault. Like I said, he's the one that was cheering on the Bears, and you tried to tell him, Teixeira.
Mm-hmm. Tell him, but, you can only force the water, but you can't make him drink.
Tonight 100%. But we're going to start right now. We're going to hop right in, and we're going to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks. So I'm going to start here with you right now, Teixeira. Quarterback that you're going to be starting here for week 4. Who are you going to start at quarterback for week 4, Teixeira, here for Stardom Sit 'em Saturday?
A lot of people look for the usual suspects. You got your Josh Allens, your Lamar Jacksons, your Jalen Hurts, the usual suspects. But I want to give this guy a little bit more due for the sort of fire he's putting underneath fantasy football teams and the matchups he's straight up burning in a blaze. And it's Justin Herbert on the road against the New York Giants. I think he's going to show this Wrist and Dart how it's done, how the big boys play football, how you put up points at the quarterback position. And I think he's going to put up a clinic on the Giants. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got Ladd McConkey. Gadsden's looking like he's emerging, playing him really well. And not to say sticky hands himself, Cuge might find himself in the end zone a couple times. A big game for Justin Herbert. I got a ceiling of 30 points, and I got a floor of 22.
Okay, and I love the Justin Herbert call out. Really is going well with Justin Herbert. If you have him, man, you got to be thrilled because, look, these last couple years, injuries, the fact that they always seem to want to be a running offense so far under Jim Harbaugh, but it's definitely going his way, and I'm really happy for Justin Herbert. Big fan. So I'm going to go with you here, Teixeira. And, look, it is a little bit concerning with the Giants for the simple fact that we know that their front four specifically likes to get after the quarterback, but the Chargers are a really good team, really solid offensive line. I think they can definitely handle that. The emergence of Quentin Johnson has been a surprise, kind of a resurrection of his career a little bit. We still got Ladd McConkey there. We still have Keenan Allen, as you said, and they got different options there at running back. So I like that call. I think that Justin Herbert is a guy, man, that's going to be a top 5 finisher this year. He's definitely got the potential. It's looking that way, and I love the call out. You have him in 1 QB leagues. I'm starting him all the way. Superflex is a definite sure. And we have a question here already. We have Geno or Baker this week. Who are you going to start there, Teixeira, Geno or Baker?
I would like to start Geno Smith, but I can't trust Geno Smith as far as I can throw him, and it's probably as far as he can throw himself. So I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield. I think this is a must-win game for the Buccaneers. It's a statement game for the Buccaneers. They're playing at home against the Super Bowl champs. They're going to want to send a message. I know Mike Evans is out and down, and there's some kind of injury woes there with Emeka Egbuka, but I still think that the proof is in the pudding. When push comes to shove, Baker Mayfield gets it done. And I would trust him in my lineup in 1 quarterback league. Definitely a super flex for a 2 quarterback league. I'm firing him up. I have no cause for reason or concern for Baker.
Oh, 100%. I'm with you there. And look, I know kind of people might be looking at this like, oh, he lost Mike Evans, but like we've seen Ibuka really step up. He makes a lot of people in this offense look good, and it just fits Baker, right? Like everything goes well with those two. So I really like what I've seen. And, I got a question here, Knicks or Lawrence? So while
Ooh,
we
good one.
ponder that question, let's go over to my start here for quarterback for week 4. It's gonna be Bo Nix. So interestingly enough, we have
Yeah.
Bo Nix or Trevor here. So I get to bring up Bo Nix. So yes, I'm going to start Bo Nix over Trevor Lawrence this week, Bert. I'm definitely going to roll with that, and I really like his option going up against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Man, this defense is terrible. We talk about it with Big Culture Ball. We talk about it on some of our shows as well to share. This team is really spiraling out of control right now with the injury of Joe Burrow. We knew the defense wasn't good to start the year, but man, we just seen Minnesota just lay it on thick. And Mike from Whistle to Whistle podcast, our good friend Mike Shanuti, has always said, I think Sean Payton likes to try to showcase Bo Nix when he can, because I think he really wants to have that ego trip of, oh, look at me. Everyone laughed when I took Bo Nix so high in the draft, but the laugh's mine. I do think he has that kind of ego, and I do think that he believes in Bo Nix enough. So I think Bo Nix is a great option this week going up against Cincinnati. I mean, in one quarterback leagues, you got to really pick your spots with him. I feel like maybe you have a couple average guys and you can go back and forth to one guy or the other. But man, super flex, I'm going to start him pretty much no matter what in that quarterback 2 spot. But in one quarterback leagues this week, I am very, very intrigued. Now, if you have a player of the high ceiling of a Justin Herbert, I don't mind you sticking with him over Bo Nix. But you know how it is to share. I mean, in one quarterback leagues, you might draft a couple guys like this that are kind of lower down the tier level if you waited to draft your quarterback. And if I have Bo Nix this week, I feel really good about it. I think you're going to have a floor of 20 and the ceiling of 28 to 30. I think it's there against Cincinnati. This defense is awful. And the only thing worse than the defense right now might be the offense. I mean, we know Joe Burrow ain't there. How much are they going to possess the ball, the Bengals? I mean, it couldn't be a high amount. So really game script, everything, the matchup, it's all working for Bo Nix in my opinion. So yes, Bert, I'm definitely starting Nix over Lawrence. Teixeira, do you like the Bo Nix call out this week? And would you start him over Trevor Lawrence as well?
Absolutely love the call because all of what points you laid out are very factual. Seeing the body of work between these two quarterbacks, I think Lawrence has more working against them. They're going across country. They're playing in San Francisco. Both these teams both had like a slugfest, kind of a sloppy, messy kind of a game, and it kind of was a brutalizer. And I just think that Lawrence has more of that volatility in your lineup as far as not having that safe of a floor because of his pass catching options not really following through with him, and him having more or less some sort of like his ceiling's really capped. And I think I want to play off the whole Monday Night Miracle too. I mean, if your matchups, if you're projected to be like a close loss or you're losing, that I like the upside that Bo Nix brings for your lineup on a Monday night against the Bengals at home. I think that he's got the capability to have a multi-touchdown game, where for Lawrence, I think it's going to be more tough sledding, low A-dot, close to the line of scrimmage, and maybe they get in close, and when that comes to play, maybe we see a Brian Thomas Jr. touchdown. That would be amazing for all of us, but I think for this week alone, the matchup's too juicy against us at home against that pass defense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Teixeira. And, we just, like I said, you guys saying about, us answering questions. We love that, man. You guys keep them coming. We appreciate you. This show's all about interaction, and we love having you guys with us. This is what makes it. We have fun. And we wait all year for football, and our goal is to try to help people and talk it out, and we always have a good time with that.
So his ass.
More of the questions, the merrier.
Apparently he kicked his ass, it says.
Oh, no, that's we're in the DNA Strand Crew League, but I'll tell you, he's got a good team. He really does. But I'm going to tell you right now, I got some injuries, so I'm hoping I can stick in there. I'm hoping. We'll see. So far, so good, but it's anyone's ball game. Yeah, there's a lot of good players in that league, so it's always fun to play with you guys over there as well. If you guys want to join fantasy leagues or whatever, join the Discord. And, we love getting interacting with you guys and, playing with you too. It's a great time. But to share, we're going to pop into the running backs here, my friend. Running back that you're going to be starting here in week 4. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, I know this because there's some really juicy matchups on the slate this weekend, and one of those is one of my ride or dies, one of my guys, one of my believing guys that I've been pounding the table for since the year. It just hasn't worked. I think the addition of the quarterback coming back into the lineup, divisional matchup, I think we got to get Breece Hall going. I think he's a start this week. I think he's a must put in your lineup. I think this is a get right game. I think this is a defense you can take advantage of in a good weather down in Miami. You got your backs against the wall. It's a win game, I think, for the Jets. Take them their season on the course in the right direction and to kind of shake off those bad vibes and whatnot. And I think you gotta, if you're Aaron Glenn in that offense, you got to ease Justin Fields back into it, not rely on him to huck it, chuck it 30, 40 times this weekend. But if you do a couple dump offs to Breece Hall's way, he can take it to the house. I think he's a confident lineup start for you this week. Definitely a flex if you're really set at the running back position. I think he still has a ceiling of maybe 18 to 20, closer to 18, but he's got that floor of 10 to 12 points. I think he falls in the end zone at least once, handful of receptions for about 40, 50 yards, and probably gets about 60 on the ground. I think this is the game too, TJ. I like how you put it in the other show, what you've been talking about, but I think this is a game where they kind of stop toying around with the idea of Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen. They just say, guys, we respect your position on this team, your role. If we get in close to the goal line, we might think about utilizing you, but this is the Breece Hall show. This is our superstar. This is our guy we need to showcase, and this is the guy we need to pound the rock with to put points on the board.
Absolutely. And, to share, we talk about it. I'm not out on Breece Hall. Some people I think were saying, oh, are you out? No, I'm not out. It is concerning, right? It just bothers me because, and I don't think it's a talent question. I do agree with you. I think this is a coaching Jets type problem, right? I think that's where it all lies. And, we talk about cultures with these certain teams, and I think that falls into place. Now, what you're saying, I agree with a lot of, right? You got a good matchup here, coming up for Breece Hall going up against the Miami Dolphins. If you have them, you got to rely on some of these guys at some point throughout your season. If you get cold feet sometimes, I can't blame you with what we've seen, right? You want to try to win your game. But right now, I think it's the time, if you're going to try it again, risk it. Okay, let's see what happens. I think this is the time you got to do it. Great matchup for Breece Hall. And you're right, with Justin Fields coming back, we'll see. Does that give this offense any more vitality? Does it help Breece Hall in any way, any situation? I think it definitely can, right? So I think that this is a good call out on Breece Hall. And if I had him, I'm going to go with confidence this week to give him that opportunity. And you're right. I think they got to stop getting so cute with Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. Here's the thing. Who's the most explosive back you have? It's Breece Hall. Let's stop kidding ourselves. I'm not saying Braylon Allen ain't a sufficient NFL running back. There is room for him in the NFL. I'm not saying that. But, they're still, what's he getting? 2-3 yards a carry, and it's a cloud of dust. And it's man, you can get that anywhere. If you need spark, if you need big-time offensive play potential, try to get the ball in your hands of your playmakers. So I like this call. Where do you have Breece Hall for points this week?
I like him to – I wanted him to hit the 20 mark, but I'm being more realistic. I have him at 18 and a half, 19. I think he at least gets in the end zone once, but I think his pass-catching game is what's going to boost his stats and really inflate his score and his performance, because I think Justin Fields will do more check downing, dump offs or RPOs, and I think that it's going to be more of a – I think the game plan should be play it conservative with the Jets. Don't get cute. Don't get fancy. Just do what works. Get the ball in your most explosive player's hands, and I think Breece Hall should get the volume that he needs. And I think if you're hoping for a Monday Night Miracle, I'm confident that I would feel comfortable if I have Breece Hall sitting in my lineup and I'm down 10, 12 points that he can get the job done.
Yeah, I agree with you, Teeserja. Couple questions coming in here. We have Ezekiel asking, should I drop KC for Patriots or Bears defense? So definitely redraft-ish type league here, Teeserja. We got Kansas City with a tough matchup coming up against Baltimore. We have the Patriots and we have the Bears coming into more favorable matchups Would you drop the Chiefs right now for one of them defenses? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I would drop the Chiefs for probably the Patriots defense. They got a matchup against Carolina at home this week, and we've seen the Jekyll and Hyde effect of Bryce Young and what he's been doing. I mean, he's in like a potato, or he can be the garbage time king. And I think that's the trajectory for that team. They're starting to get comfortable. They're starting to get in their own. I think they're going to do a lot better is manage the clock and the run game, have Drake May making short time throws and not being so careless with the football. I like the opportunities in the Patriots-Carolina game. For the Bears, though, they scare me because of the fact that their pass defense is suspect, to say the least. And I think where the Raiders are going to kill them is through the passing game with Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers and maybe Genty out of the backfield. That's still out to be decided. But like, I'm fading Kansas City's defense because I think that their offense isn't really helping them, and they're being put on the field for longer stretches of time, and that's really fatiguing them. And what you're banking on with the Kansas City defense it is a touchdown score, because they played the Giants last week and they had some turnovers. That's great and all, but that's when you're playing against a bad quarterback and a terrible offense that, that's bound to happen. You're going up against Baltimore, an angry Baltimore team, I will say the least, from what I'm hearing out of their fans and their sports media outlets. They're going to play with the fire of high hand. I just don't think they're going to get bullied around by that warrants you to start them in your lineups. I think they're safe to be faded and dropped in leagues because their upcoming schedule isn't pretty either. I think they're still on a brutal couple game stretch here, and I think the Patriots are on the upswing, especially if they get the TreVeyon Henderson show going.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I have no problem dropping Kansas City for really either of those defenses. And, Teixeira, wants to go Patriots there a little bit more, and I don't hate that whatsoever. And, I don't know. Like, the way I look at it is with redraft is, if I'm playing with team defenses, and I mean, this is just how I approach it. The game's turned into such an offensive game. We don't really see, like, the old Steeler defenses, the old Ravens defenses, where you just plug in, they're going to get 6 to 8 sacks guaranteed. Like, that just don't happen much anymore, right? So, like, I prefer streaming defenses, kind of like what you're trying to do here, Ezekiel. So I have no problem dropping the Chiefs. And you look at their schedule, it's not just, this week where it's going to be tough. They got a pretty tough schedule the whole length, right? Especially even in their own division. So go ahead and stream them defenses. I have no problem with that. And we have some more questions coming in here.
I love it.
Teixeira. He said, we have Dill King asks, in redraft, who would you try to trade for? Brian Thomas Jr. is who he's trying to trade. Who would you trade him for in 3 leagues? So I'll let you ponder that. I think that's what he's asking. Like, if you would trade Brian Thomas, maybe who would you trade him for in redraft? So Teixeira, I'll let you put your thinking cap on. We'll come back to that one just so you have some time to think about it. But we have another start sit question here. And then we'll get into some more trade talk. We have Tyson asking, start Alec Ayamaner, Troy Franklin, Khalil Shakir, or Woody Marks in the flex, full PPR. So it's full PPR. You start 1. We have Alec Ayamaner, Troy Franklin, Khalil Shakir, or Woody Marks. Who are you going to plug in your flex there, Teixeira? Full PPR.
I threw this guy in a lot of my lineups. I invested a lot of fab in him over the week, and I love his rapport with Cam Ward, and I think he's just going to get more snap percentage, more volume, and more targets. I think it's going to be wheels up for Ayamaner the rest of the season, and I'm confidently starting him over these guys because with Troy Franklin, I think it's a big boomer bust. He's a Marvin Mims 2.0. It's the situation there in Denver is whose game is it going to be? It's going to be a Sutton game, a Mims game, a Franklin game, a Troutman game, or if it's just going to be a J.K. Dobbins running all over the place. And in a full PPR, I just like the fact that Ayamaner is getting targeted so heavily comparatively combined to Franklin and Shakir. I don't think Shakir is going to be a necessary target or a necessary option this weekend with the Bills. I emphasized over there on the Face of the Franchises show, the Four Corners with Mike, that, it's going to be a James Cook production down there in New Orleans. It's going to be a lot of running the football, a lot of Josh Allen. And I just don't think Shakir is going to fit into that game script that is going to call for him to have a high ceiling. And Woody Marks, I am not there yet with him yet. I need to see more of a sample size. I like the idea of they're getting him more involved, but he's still splitting with Nick Chubb, and that's really handicapping you in your flex spot if you put him there because you're really hoping he falls in the end zone or he takes over that backfield and gets a high volume for carries with the Houston offense going up against Tennessee, and I don't see that happening. So I want to go with the ceiling and play A.O. Manor.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it, Teeserja. That's who I'm going to go with too. And really, the matchup's good too. Like Houston does not look good. I was watching a little bit of the Houston Jacksonville game last week. I see Will Anderson's just a little banged up as well.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if he made the injury report or not, but I know he's dealing with a little something. So that's their best defensive player. So in my opinion, I think that Tennessee has a good chance to make a little bit of noise here. So I like that call out. Give me A.O. Manor in that situation too. I like Shakir. Shakir would be my second choice. But as Teeserja said, that could be really hit or miss. A.O. Manor right now is kind of that target hog for the Titans. It's turning into that. So let me ride that momentum. But we're going to go over here now, and we have another question. Bert is asking, trying to trade for Amon-Ra, and Teeserja can appreciate that. He offered Kenneth Walker an early second and both my first and second in 2028. Is that enough? I'm going to say this, Bert. It just depends on who you're talking to, right? Maybe there's a guy out there that really likes Kenneth Walker. Really, in my eyes, if I was trying to, trade Amon-Ra as a rebuilder or something like that, I would personally want more. But I'm just going to say this. It isn't an insulting offer. Right?
No,
I've gotten
not
worse
at all.
than that. So, I would send that. I feel comfortable giving that up. If I'm getting Amon-Ra St. Brown, I feel more uncomfortable giving that up. So, if you can get that done, absolutely do it. Now, if he wants a little bit more tacked on, I don't mind doing that as well. Now, I'm not going to get super crazy, but if I had to tack a little bit of extra something on to get him, I have no problem doing that. Do you agree with me, Teeserja, as far as the way I evaluate that?
Absolutely. It's not an insulting offer at all, and I really think that it does depend on who you're working with and who you're dealing with here. And if it was me and I'm the one giving up Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think I would prefer the draft capital is amazing there. I'll take that. If you are trying to get Amon-Ra, you dump your whole 2026 class. Who cares? Maybe your 27s if you're really feeling confident in Amon-Ra. Although I like to keep my 27 picks as much as possible. And 2028 is still dice roll. We don't know who's coming out, what the talent looks like and whatnot, but it's still, you're showing the person you're trading with, hey, I'm willing to sacrifice my future, my capital for this guy I believe in. But if I were the guy that was getting rid of Amon-Ra St. Brown, I would prefer a young wide receiver, maybe a Brian Thomas Jr., a Ladd McConkey, a Jamar Chase, maybe to make it spicier, but someone that's younger, that has potential and has the possibility to maybe move on somewhere else later on and still have some sort of future in the league, because you're really giving up a top 5 wide receiver, and it really stings when you're giving up that production and the rest of your wide receiver room is left with a point production crater having Amon-Ra off your team. Now, getting Amon-Ra, I'm going to advocate with this everywhere. Get him now before he's absolutely unattainable. I think this Cleveland game could be even another multi-touchdown game for him and him to blow up. I think he's ascending that tier that we talked about in the offseason, where can he do this? Can he not? We've seen Justin Jefferson and Chase take a step back this year, Nico Collins, and those are all guys ahead of him that I saw a lot of people have in the rankings, and he's really frogging these guys, and I don't see signs of him slowing down as long as Jared Goff is still staying there healthy at quarterback.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But now we'll go back to Dill King here with the Brian Thomas trade and redraft. And I'll start this one out to share, because look, the problem is with redraft is, you almost have to trade one underperforming asset for another underperforming asset, right? Because that's just the way it goes, because no one's going to give up someone that's getting more points, so there's just a couple options I have here for you, my friend. So Drake London, right? If I could get Drake London 1-for-1 for Brian Thomas right now, I have a better feeling about him producing more higher end fantasy performances. I know it didn't look good for the Falcons last week, but I think that if you talk about offenses on who's better equipped to rebound right now, I say that's the Falcons and not the Jaguars. So I mean, I wouldn't mind making a move like that. And the other one, and I don't know if it gets it done or not, is Michael Pittman. Like, if you could get Michael Pittman 1-for-1 for Brian Thomas, and you might be able to, right? Because that is a sexy name with Brian Thomas. You might be able to pry Michael Pittman away. So them two would be ones that I would try. You almost got to go straight up 1-for-1. A lesser player in value and expectation in Michael Pittman, and a guy like Drake London that's equally struggling right now, but I have a tendency to believe in their offense, their system a little bit more to provide higher end finishes for him. So do you like those moves to share? And do you have anyone else you'd
Absolutely.
like
I think you took a couple of the ones that I was going to say, but another ones, if you're believers in these guys and you're comfortable with the pivot, I'd try a Nico Collins if you think that Houston's going to turn around, because he's still youthful. He's in a contract. He's going to be there for a while. And maybe, he's got that alpha ability. We've seen him be able to do it. We've seen the body of work. It's just right now, like you said, you got to exchange assets at the same value of where their performance level is at right now, because you're not going to get like a Puka Nacua or a Amon-Ra St. Brown for Brian Thomas Jr. It's just not going to happen. That was maybe a consideration at the beginning of the year if you threw some some add-ons to it. But say before things different is take advantage of the game that Malik Neighbors had. Maybe you can throw Brian Thomas Jr. in a plus, flip it for Malik Neighbors, because if this Jackson Dart experience takes off, you're definitely making an upgrade there, because we've seen how well Neighbors can command targets and take over games.
Yeah, 100%. Got another question coming in here from Swabby JP. 12-team PPR. Should I trade Jaylen Warren, Devonta Smith, and Keon Coleman for Amon-Ra? I also can get Ladd and Judkins for that package, like either of those. So let me just say this. Swabby. Them are two really good packages. Like, I mean, it just depends, right? Like, I would gladly take either of them. But, like, if you feel like your team's super good and you could use that elevated star-studded ability of Amon-Ra in your lineup, go ahead and go get them, right? I see you posted your lineup on here. You have Chase, Garrett Wilson.
Thank you.
If you added Amon-Ra with them two, yeah, thank you for doing that. And if you add Amon-Ra on there, that is insanely great. But, you look at his running backs, and I can see the case of, Travion's been a little less than appetizing right now, but I do think he's going to get the opportunities after what we've seen with Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. I think you almost have to put the kid out there and let's see what he can do. So, like, I don't mind either of those moves, to be honest with you. And I don't know. Like, I think I would prefer the Amon-Ra side just a little bit better. You could always add a depth running back if you have to, right? And I think Monunga is a guy, and Teixeira, this NFC North. I mean, I think he's getting, a little bit more touches slowly here out of this Bears backfield. So I kind of like that. So I think I would prefer the Amon-Ra deal the most out of the two. But, man, if I could get Judkins or Ladd for that, I'm smashing both trades.
Oh, yeah.
You agree, Teixeira?
Yeah. How I'm doing this is I'm sending the first offer out to the Amon-Ra one, and if he says no, I'm immediately sending that second one out for the Ladd and Judkins one and seeing it, because I want to get either one of these. And if you can do it now, that's going to be great, because Q is RB1 for you.
That's right. That's our new saying. I love it, Teixeira. Preach so we can get on Mike's case. And, okay, so Deal King says, I have Drake London on the same team. Yeah, that figures, right? I mean, that would have been a good option. But I do think Michael Pittman, I think he's a good option as well. And as Teixeira said, maybe Nico Collins, somebody like that. And also Swabby JP says if he had to go with the Ladd Judkins package, he would have to add, or I could possibly get Amander as well. If you could, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that I still lead the Amon-Ra side just a little bit by a hair.
But I
still that is super close. I love that package. I mean, look, if he preferred to give that up, if he feels more comfortable, I'd say, yeah, no problem. Send him over here. So I have no problem with that. He says, rather have BTJ and Genty or Ladd and Judkins. Where would you be out on that? BTJ and Jenny or Ladd and Judkins? So, like, let me say this. If this is Dynasty Suave, I would rather have BTJ and Genty, right? Like, I mean, I love Judkins. I just think Ladd's a wide receiver too on his best day. I'm not knocking him. I just think he is what he is. And he's a solid player to have. Like, I mean, if I have him, I'm happy. I have him just to be a solid flexish wide receiver 3, 2-ish type guy, I have no problem. I just think the ceilings there's a little bit limited. Brian Thomas Jr. is still a guy that could be a dominator. It's just a bad year. Jacksonville looks like steaming pile of dog crap. And Jenny's still got ability. I'm just going to go here to our friend Big Bob and say, look, it's the offensive line. Come on, Slim. It's the offensive line. That's what he says. And I think that is the biggest problem with the Raiders. So I got to go back my friend Bob with that. I think that, do you agree to share as far as that goes? You would go BTJ and Jenny as well in a dynasty setting?
Yes. But I know, that Judkins is so tempting now, because if he has this kind of game that I think he can have against the Lions, oh boy, good luck trying to obtain him after this week if he does it against the Lions.
Yeah, that's it. And he also asks, what do you think about Drake London and Jameson Williams for Nico Collins? I mean, look, really, I think it's kind of a lateral move in my opinion right now. Like, Drake London's been kind of down, a little bit disappointing. Long term, if it's all redraft.
Okay.
All redraft. I mean, if I'm getting London and Jameson, I like that move because you're getting 2 players for 1, and I always like getting 2 players for 1 in redraft. Dill King says, everyone listening, join the Discord. These guys are amazing. No, you guys are amazing. Thank you. I mean, we enjoy talking to you guys, and we have a blast doing it. This is what we really enjoy doing. We wait all year for the season. So, no, if you guys do join the Discord, we'd love to have you. We got a great community of awesome people over there. And it always helps. You can win your leagues that way. And if you guys want to join, we can drop that in the chat. I know Teeserja can do that for you in a second. So I like a lot of this. And we have one more question here. It's a start-sit question. Ezekiel asks, Flex Henderson or DJ Moore? Who would you rather go with this week, Teeserja? Because great matchup for DJ Moore, coming off his best game. Henderson, we just talked about it, should get the opportunities. But still, we don't know. It's still a rookie in Mike Vrabel's offense.
This is more or less due to the fact of the emergence of Rome Odunze and where I have him in my week 4 starts. I think I'm leading Travion Henderson because I'm hopeful that he gets the volume he is sorely due. And I think that DJ Moore is slowly getting faded out of this rotation of pass catchers for the Bears. And I think that I would feel more comfortable personally. This is no non-Bears bias at all. It's just I think there's a higher ceiling for Travion if he is able to break it against the Carolina Panthers. Like, if they're able to break the Panthers and have their way with this game and he gets the bulk of the carries, I can see him having a 20-plus point ceiling. Whereas for DJ Moore, he's really fighting for targets, and I think he's even fighting for red zone targets and getting in the end zone. So if he doesn't fall into the end zone at least once, I think that severely caps his ceiling. And I feel for DJ, I have him around 10 to 14 points just because I have Rome Odunze 18 to 24. I just think that the shift is being made there in the wide receiver core, and I will take the shot on the rookie.
Yeah, I like it. I think, honestly, I'm with you, Teeserja. I like DJ Moore, but you are right. Rome Odunze kind of emerging onto the scene here a little bit. It's kind of been, a little bit of a carousel in Chicago, but Rome's kind of been the main guy, right? Like, we even seen Luther Burden pop off with the big play last week. A lot of mouths there to feed. And even when things are going really well for the Bears, that's the biggest precaution, right? There's a lot of mouths to feed. So I think I'm going to go with Henderson too in hopes that he could have that game. And we're going to go over now to my running back that I'm going to be starting here in week 4. It's another rookie, and it's not the guy that you're thinking, Teeserja. It's not Q. It is Cam Scattaboo going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. Look, we know Tyrone Tracy is dealing with a shoulder injury. I think that just off volume alone, this is a good time to start Cam Scattaboo, right? Like, I know the matchup isn't the sexiest on paper, but we've seen J.K. Dobbins do a little bit of damage against this Chargers run defense. We know that Jackson Dart first start, going to see probably a lot of little check downs, and Cam Scattaboo's really good and very strong out of the backfield on those little check downy type plays. I just don't see Jackson Dart having a huge ADOT in this game based off the fact that we know the Chargers probably will get after him a little bit, right? Because we know there are still offensive line struggles there with the Giants. And look, if the Giants are going to score a touchdown, if I'm making a bet, like someone says, TJ, you have to take an anytime Giant touchdown scorer for week 4. I think Cam Skattebo will be near the top of my list.
Mm-hmm.
I just think between his receiving ability, his rushing ability, if they're lucky enough to get it down inside the 5 there, he is a guy that's got to have a high percentile to get in the end zone this week. I think that you're looking at a floor of 10 to 12 points with Skattebo and the ceiling of possibility 18 to 20 if he does get in the end zone. Because I do think the pass catching, I could see 3 to 4 pass catches for Skattebo just off receptions, right? And I could see, 50 to 60 yards on the ground. And if that happens, then we're just missing the touchdown to hit that ceiling. So go ahead. I'm going to roll with Skattebo this week. I just think it's a volume play. If I have him, I'm plugging him in a lot of places because, look, you have injuries. James Conner. We see people lose guys, right? Like, you're going to need some of these other guys to pick up the pace, and Cam Skattebo is a guy I think could do it this week. You like the start, Teeserja?
Absolutely. I think this is going to be force-fed. He's going to be Jackson Dart's best friend back there in that field. And he's not used to Devin Singletary. I'm not threatened by any other option the Giants have in the backfield. I think it's wheels up for him, and I think that he's just going to be that Mike Allstott, Jerome Bettis-ish type running back that's going to bowl through people because his yards after contact, he only had 59 yards rushing last week, but 44 of those 59 yards was after contact. So it's not like he's getting hit and stopped. He's not pulling a Marion Hampton where he gets touched and he's going to be down for the count. It's going to be him fighting for it, and hopefully he stays healthy doing it. And I just, that element of pass catching is very unique for a bruising type back like that. And I think that's going to be able to stack his abilities. I mean, if you're pretty good at the running back position, I even like throwing him in my flex over some of these wide receiver options that you could have in a full PPR league. Like, I think I'm confident enough to he'd be the one of the few running backs that I would put in the flex spot over a wide receiver. If, I'm looking at my projections, looking at how my lineup is built in my roster, and I feel like I can go win it this week, I can put the nail in the coffin against my opponent, or I can surprise him and punch him in the mouth with a big game with Skattebo sitting there in my flex.
100%. And like you said, I love the fact off the pass catching and just the simple fact, look, I mean, the volume's going to be there. Rushing, catching, that is a big deal for Cam Skattebo. So I do like to play him this week. Dill King says DJ Moore to the Chiefs.
I got a better one for you, TJ.
That would be amazing.
I've just been hearing things out of Tampa Bay that the recovery for McMillan isn't going as fast and as well as they think it was with his neck, and Godwin's being kind of going to be eased and gingerly into the lineup. And with Mike Evans down with a few weeks or so, I would like to see the Buccaneers make a move for DJ Moore, because if Mike Evans is truly on his way out after this season, who better to have work with Ibuka, and if Ibuka can settle in that wide receiver 2 spot, have Godwin the wide receiver 3, and having DJ Moore being the alpha with Baker Mayfield throwing to him. I think that would be almost as equivalent as high ceiling as if he were to go to Buffalo with Josh Allen. Like, I just like the prospect of the volume and the opportunities if the Buccaneers were able to make a move for him.
Yeah, I like that call out as well. I think that would be a good one to share, but we'll go over now and let's head into the wide receivers. Which wide receiver are you going to be starting here in week 4, Teeserja?
The wide receiver I'm looking to start this week. Oh, I did him last week. Okay, we'll do a different one. I think that Courtland Sutton for the Denver Broncos is going to find his way in the end zone. I think that Bengals defense is going to get bullied around a bit, and I think Bo Nix needs to just settle in to his number one target. And if they get in close, I think that he's going to have a huge opportunity for red zone touchdowns. And I think he can break 1 or 2 big plays this game and really blow the ceiling off of his point performance. I think he has the ceiling of, I'm going to go 21, 22, and probably the floor of like 13. So there's a huge gap in there. And the reason for that is for if their multiple touchdowns. I don't think he'll have like a lot of yardage, but he'll get enough receptions. And if you have in a full PPR, that'll stack and add up. But I think you can see him getting 1 or 2 touchdowns in this game against the Bengals.
And I love Courtland Sutton. And, you know, you always talk about the TJ jacket players, right? Like, these guys, like, I just love them. They're so underrated. Like Michael Pittman, Courtland Sutton, Jacoby Myers. Like, give me them guys because they always seem to come through for you. Yeah, they might drop a bad game once in a while, right? But, like the name reliable should be tagged with them. Like, the word reliable should be their middle name, right? Like, Courtland Reliable Sutton, right? Like, it just – to me, it's almost automatic. The fact that, like, you know, the volume's going to be there with the Broncos and the touchdown possibility is always high. Like, he always does his best work in the red zone. So I like to call out to share. I think Courtland Sutton's definitely going to be a strong play this week. And he's a guy that, like I always say about some of these other ones, he's a player you can't do without sometimes, right? So definitely love the call out on Courtland Sutton. Now let's come over here to me for my wide receivers that I'm going to be starting in week 4. So I am going to fire up everybody in the Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver room except for Trey.
There's got to be one that you're not.
Except I like Trey, but it's still early. And, you know, with the emergence of Quentin Johnson, it just moves him down the depth chart right now a little bit. I think he'll be fine later on as a, you know, later round guy that you got. I like that play. You know, if you got him, I still think you're okay. But give me these Chargers receivers, man. Like, Keenan Allen has been money. Like, I mean, another guy you want to talk about reliable. He missed all training camp, all this, all that. Comes out and looks like he never even missed a beat, man. Like, he's doing so well. Quentin Johnson's popping off at least one big play a game. He's wide receiver 8 right now. I mean, until he proves us otherwise, I mean, I got to play him. And I know you had Justin Herbert as your quarterback. I mean, I just have confidence in Herbert, and Ladd is still probably going to get me that 10 to 12 floor, probably in that range. Like, I feel at least I'm going to get that. I mean, maybe he's going to have a game where he's going to bounce back, and I'd hate to miss the opportunity. And the matchup's really good. And I just don't think the Giants are going to hold the ball long enough consistently. And I think that these Chargers wide receivers are going to feast. If I have any Chargers, I'm going to start them this week. I mean, that's just the whole thing. And if I am super, super tight end needy, if Gadsden's available, I mean, I'm going to give him a go. You know, I'm going to give him a go. So, I mean, like, you know how it is. I mean, you played in so many leagues to share, just like I have. Like, sometimes you got to scrape at the bottom of the barrel for tight ends. And, like, if I was scraping, he's one I'm looking at this week, going up against this Giant team. And I love it. You know, the Chargers wide receiver, Conky's like the point guard, and everyone else is like 6'8". So it's like, it's amazing. So, like, give me the Chargers wide receivers this week. Do you agree that they're going to probably have a big presence in this game and probably produce a good amount of fantasy points?
Yeah, I certainly do. I have Omarion Hampton as one of my sits of the week for running backs, just due to the fact that I think that Justin Herbert's volume that he's going to be doing damage against this Giants defense is going to be superb. I think the pecking order of this weekend, though, is going to be Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, as far as the confidence meter I have on those Chargers wide receivers, just because Keenan Allen's on a heater, and like I have a feeling that he's going to continue at least finding the way in his end zone. But I can see Ladd McConkey having 7 to 8, maybe even 9 targets and hitting the century mark. I mean, he might not fall in the end zone, but I think he's going to be well set to hit a double-digit day. I mean, I think if I were to put a number on it, I want to say 19 as his floor, maybe 22 as a ceiling, because if Justin Herbert, if this is the game, I know I practiced what I preached, and I was out on it. I sold Ladd McConkey everywhere where I could, but that thought did cross my mind. Like, you know, it would be just the thing happen for my fantasy football luck, as I come off of him, and then he ends up deciding to punish me and going off on a multi-touchdown game, which I think there's very much the possibility this weekend against the Giants.
Definitely could happen, but look, I still give you credit. Like, I know you got Rashee Rice back in one of them deals.
Oh, yeah.
You know me with Rashee Rice. To me, you're getting the potential of a wide receiver 1 more consistently, and I think that's just upgrading. So I loved a lot of the moves you made. Like, they made sense, and I think you did very well. Let me just say that. But Derek is asking here, what's up, guys? Jaden Daniels is out for me. Would you start Caleb Williams or Brock Purdy this week? You know, Brock Purdy coming back from injury. We don't know with the toe thing, but it is a really good matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, I will say this, and I think Teixeira will agree with me. I think I got to go Caleb Williams here going up against this Raiders defense. I mean, look, Marcus Mariota was able to do some things to them last week. They're still not there yet to me. Caleb's coming off a confidence game. Look, I mean, I'm not saying it might not backfire, but like, you got to think, right? Like, the Bears were so down. So, like, now at least their confidence level is built up. They feel like they can maybe do some things out there. And the Raiders are still the Raiders. We talk about bad culture teams. They are one of them. And like, I like Brock Purdy a lot. I just worry, is he going to be able to make it through the whole game? Are they going to try to insulate him and let this be more of a Christian McCaffrey thing if he's not playing, right? Like, if they know he's hurt, that could be in the cards too. I just think that there's such a bigger ceiling with Caleb, and I think the floors could be similar. So that's why I'm going to go with Caleb against the Raiders this week. Like the matchup just based off of what I seen last week as well with the Raider defense. I don't know how you feel Teixeira. I just think there's more of a ceiling with Caleb. It just sucks that Purdy's hurt. I mean, I don't think he was hurt. I think you can maybe be talking a little bit different, but I'm just worried coming back from injury this soon.
Yeah, I am totally fully on board with you. I agree because the variance and the risk that you're taking on by playing Purdy immediately following an injury is significant that he had. I think it's going to be more conservative play calling coming from the 49ers and more easing Purdy back into the game. The flow has been out for a while now. He needs to get his feet under control back, and I think that it's not worth putting him out there because it's a juicy matchup, yes, but the injury is significant enough where if he aggravates that totally blows up your lineup in a one quarterback league. I mean, super flex you might be able to manage, but Jaden Daniels, that sucks that he's out. Purdy's under the same boat, but I'm with you, TJ. I'm not going to say it. I wrote it down. I'm not going to say it just to start the guy that you're saying to start. I don't want to say it, but yeah, I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah, I think you almost have to go that route. Sometimes your hands forced, right? Yeah. I still think I'd feel pretty confident. Just based off the Raiders, man. If Bob was here, Bob, I feel great about it.
I could see him having another multi-touchdown game and a few hundred yards. That's where I have a seal. I actually have Caleb Williams as he's made my top 10 start list or top 12 start list this week, so he's in there. So there's enough confidence that I'm willing to throw him out there in lineups if I got him.
Good matchup coming off a good game. Confidence is a nice thing to have as well. Teixeira, let's dip into the tight ends. Tight end that you're going to be starting here in week 4. Who you targeting?
I wish I had it on hand, but I think I was going to go up to the refrigerator and grab out a Kraft singles for Bob. I'm going to go with Tucker Kraft as my start of the week for tight end. I think he's going to absolutely feast. He's going to make people feel all nice and weak after the bits of that last week's game and how he let him down and left people hanging in fantasy lineups. I think that Jordan Love will use him as his security blanket and his big playmaker on that offense with Jaden Reed still out, Romeo Doubs and Wicks being inconsistent, and we know that Golden is still nursing an injury. And I think that Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur are going to want to put a statement on this game. I don't see it as much of a running flow game. I think this game's going to come out of the tight ends. And I will say my secondary option was probably a guy you're going with, but I think this is going to be a tight end heavy throwdown between these two teams. And I just feel like Tucker Kraft, I've seen the high ceiling games and I like what I see. And I think he should get right back on track. And Dallas is good medicine for that.
100%. And, I think that you almost have to go, I mean, like, we know the injury. Like, I'm not worried about it this week. Like, I think we're going to see him back more fully healthy, and I agree with you. And, this is a guy that me and Bob are kind of fighting back and forth with because you said, I'm going to start him. Jake Ferguson, Dallas Cowboys. Yep. And, I talked about it. We got to buy Jake Ferguson. I said it all off season. Dak loves this guy. I don't know what it is. Like, he's always liked tight ends, but I'm telling you right now, like, these guys are tighter than tight. Dak always looks for him. No CeeDee Lamb. We know he's out because Cowboys were stupid and used him as a running back. Didn't make any sense, but he's out. George Pickens is already having these little tiffs and breakdowns. I mean, it's just such a shame for a guy that has such talent. But Jake Ferguson's just still that reliable guy for Dak. He's not the guy that's always barking in his ear for the ball. He's the guy that's always the security blanket. He feels comfortable throwing him the ball. And look, there's one of two ways this will go. Either Dallas will try to make this a game and maybe they will make it competitive, but even if they don't, there's going to be a lot of garbage dump off, smaller passes going to take, like we seen last week against Chicago. Like Jake Ferguson is tight end 1 right now. And I mean, Tucker Kraft would be right there probably if he wasn't hurt. I mean, it's going to go nip and tuck, but reception volume alone, Jake Ferguson, I'm playing him even in non-tight end premium and flex spots because he's almost good for 12 or 13 a week. So even if you want to flex him, I have no problem with it, but he is a guy to me that I am trying to get in my lineup no matter what. And you know what I say about Jake Ferguson, Teeserja. The most impressive part of his game is his red zone work. And we haven't seen a touchdown yet.
Yep.
And the fact that he's in 1 right now, the touchdowns are coming. Like, believe me, like, I mean, I think he's going to end up this year still scoring 6 to 7 touchdowns at least that. So I think that I feel really good about Ferguson in not only my traditional tight end spot, but also plug him in the flex if I needed him. So I really, really like him as an option, even based off game script, whatever's cooking there. And we have the Irish Con saying Green Bay undefeated at AT&T Stadium. Absolutely, they do very well in Jerry World.
And he's spoken the Flames. Have you seen Jerry Jones's comments these last couple of days? He's really just putting logs on that fire for the Packers, just essentially just, dismissing the whole Micah Parsons move and whatnot. And it's going to be a slaughter. I can't wait to watch it Sunday night.
Now we're going down to Jerry World, and like I said, Green Bay does well there, no doubt. I still think the game script will work for some of the fantasy assets, but man, it's gonna be tough sledding for the Cowboys, no doubt about it. But Teeserja, let's go into it. The dreaded sit category here for week 4. Here we go. We ain't gonna hit the button. We're getting closer to Halloween. I'm gonna save that for Halloween because we got to get it really. We're gonna save September here, but when we get closer, we'll play the spooky button a little bit more, but we'll always start with the quarterbacks. Quarterback, you're going to be sitting down here in week 4.
I'm going to be sitting down. I don't know. Do I make this one spicy? Let's see. No, let's do it. I'm going to be sitting down. I guess it's not that kind of spicy, but they're playing at home. It's warm weather. It's Monday Night Football. You're looking for a miracle. You ain't getting it from this guy, Tua Tagovailoa. I know I've been preaching it since the beginning of the year, how I'm out on this offense. I'm out on this team. And I think that this cooks up for a recipe of a lot of possible mistakes, some more in bunches from Tua, because he's going to be forcing the ball to Tyreek, forcing it into Waddle. And I think it's just going to be one of those multi-turnover games, and I think it's going to be another embarrassment for the Dolphins on Monday night. And that defense knows that the way that they're going to get beat is if Tyreek Hill gets loose over the top or Jalen Waddle gets burned by them over the middle. And I think that their path to success is to make Tua try to beat them and make mistakes. And I think that's on tap. I think he's a pretty good pick if you're doing DFS this week for anytime interception thrower.
Yeah, it's definitely been rough for Miami. And, I just I'm like you. I don't have a good feeling about this. Like, I know some people were thinking this offense was kind of maybe showing signs of life just a little bit against Buffalo. But look, I mean, I'm like you, Teeserja. I'm not playing him in any format until he gives me reason to believe that we're just going to see something like we've seen from the old Tua, right? Like, until confidence in it. And the Jets still have a pretty solid defensive unit for the most part. I mean, they can be a little stingy at times, and it is a division game. Like, I think this will be a low-scoring affair with the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And, we try to stay away from that for fantasy assets for sure. Irish Con asks, when do you fly out to Dublin? He's asking me. I wish I was there, man. Believe me, because right now, I love that part of the Europe, the UK, Ireland. I love the Brittany, I should say, the whole area over there. Like, I mean, I have family that actually lives in Belgium, so I've been over to the UK a couple times. Now, I haven't been to Ireland. I would really like to go, and I'd love to go to an Irish pub and watch a Steelers game. That would be amazing. But I'm going to tell you right now, hopefully we make a good showing. I'm hoping, I'm praying, because, I got my worries. We don't usually do well when we travel overseas. And the Vikings, for whatever reason, I just think they're going to give us a little bit of fits, but I hope we can hang in there. We'll see. It should be a good game. At least we got some more two traditional solid teams going over to the European market, and not someone like Jacksonville, like we talked about, right? At least you get the Steelers and the Vikings. That's a little bit better. But let's go into the quarterback sit for me for week 4 here. It's going to be a guy that's been on fire, man. And, it's going to be hard for me to share one to talk about spice, but I think I'm going to go with a little spice myself. I'm going to sit down Daniel Jones going up against the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, look, I love me some Danny Dimes. I'm so happy with what I've seen. Quarterback 4 right now. It's hard to believe. And, I got confidence in him to continue some more of this magical play, right? But, I think in a game like this, you got to have realistic expectations. One thing that the Rams defense does very well is to get after the quarterback, right? And I think that they're going to be able to do that some in this game. I think if the Colts are going to try to make this a super ultra competitive game, I think they're going to have to really lean on Jonathan Taylor. I think that's where they're going to have most of their emphasis here. And it's going to be a tough ask for him to do this 4 weeks in a row against a team like this. I think that if I'm going to be a little precautionary with Daniel Jones, I think this is a game where I'm going to be a little precautionary. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. If you have him, the fact that he plays Jacksonville, Houston, Tennessee, I feel great about that all season long. So, all season, I feel really good about Daniel Jones' fantasy outlook. But in a game like this, if it's a one quarterback league, I might temper my expectations just a little bit. I think that maybe he could hit a ceiling of 16 to 18 at best case. I think he's going to be more around that 12, 13 range. I think he can get there just based off rushing ability. Maybe he poaches a goal line touchdown or something like that. But I just think it's a tough ask this week to share. Can you see where I'm coming from?
Absolutely. I respect that position, and I think I would probably do the same myself. I just your heart says, "Come on, Indiana Jones, let's get this done." But then you're like, I've been preaching it since the beginning of the year in redraft and in other league formats that the Rams defense is not a slouch. These guys got a young, hungry front four that get after the quarterback and create amazing pressure that let those linebackers be able to focus on spying and just scouting out and letting things not develop in the middle of the field. And that's where Daniel Jones is going to want to be able to operate, is getting in between the boundaries of trying to scramble and make things happen. And I think that front is just going to contain him and not let him operate and do that way. And he's going to have to beat you over the top. And those defensive backs are playing out of their mind. I mean, as much as the pass rush is getting there, I think that umbrella defense in that secondary, that Sean McVay will have them ready, and he'll know and coach those guys up at being like, this is what to expect from Daniel Jones. He's going to want to bust you over the top with a Josh Downs. He's going to want to kill you on third downs with Michael Pittman. He's going to want to get you in the red zone with Tyler Warren, and we can't let that happen. We need to make they're going to have to pick one of two poisons. Do you want to get beat by Daniel Jones, or do you want to get beat by Jonathan Taylor? And I think that the front, that they have enough confidence in to contain and keep Jonathan Taylor from having an explosive game, that they don't want it broken open by Daniel Jones. So the defensive game this weekend is just keep everything in front, no explosive plays, and I think really, really, really caps and ceilings Daniel Jones' performance. I barely having maybe 20 points, and that's being generous. I have him somewhere between 16 to 20, but that's just because of lack of opportunity, not being able to get on the field. Because I think on the other side of the ball, the Rams are going to want to run, control the clock, manage it, get Kyren Williams going because of that Devontae Adams injury, not having Stafford throw as much. So I don't think it's going to be one of those circus big games from Daniel Jones, but I don't see him making a bunch of mistakes and turnovers. I don't see him throwing interceptions or fumbling or getting sacked. I just think that it's going to be one of those coming down to earth. He's still going to be relatively hyped, but I think he's going to be shown that, yes, in fact, he's still human.
Yeah, unfortunately. But like I said, hey, even if he gets a good showing, maybe gets the Colts close in this game, somehow they can win it. That would be tremendous. It really would for a team like the Colts. They're a hard team not to root for right now, 100%. But let's go into the running backs here, Teeserja. running back that you're going to sit down here in week 4? Who's going to ride the pine this week?
Well, I hope you got what you guys got out of him the first 2 weeks of the year, because this week is the week that you put him back where he belongs and where he should be and where he deserves to be, and that's on the pine. And I'm talking about Javonte Williams. I don't see a realm of possibility that front four of the Green Bay Packers is going to let Javonte Williams bully them around or let him break one open on them. I think they're going to have some great run contain, making him beat you through the tackles and try to get yards after the first contact, and I just don't see it happening. I think that the game script is not in the favor to have a run heavy game plan for the Cowboys. They're going to have to sling it and gut it to keep up with these Packers, and I don't think that they're going to be caught sleeping and mystified by this bizarro world we live in where Javonte Williams is scoring multiple touchdowns and just eating up defenses. I think the clock hits midnight for him. He's going to find out real fast Sunday night that there ain't no glass slipper in Jerry world versus the Packers.
No glass slipper for Javonte. And I like to call out Green Bay is a tough, stingy unit, no doubt. And I think, look, if you have, like we said, Jake Ferguson, Dak, I think there's going to be at least some garbage time opportunity there. With Javonte, I don't think that's there. And that kills him, right? That really hurts him. So I do agree with you, Teeserja. Now I'm going to be sitting down for my running back here for week 4, RJ Harvey with the Denver Broncos. Look, I mean, there's so many people like we talk. Now, I know this is a very good matchup, and you got to look at it some ways like that. Let's just go ahead and look at the snap share for RJ Harvey here, though, right now. 40% of the snaps he's only played through the first few games this season on average, right? I mean, he touched the ball like 7 times his first week, 6 times the second week, 5 times last week. So the touches are even going down. Yep. And we see J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins has looked good, and I don't care. As Ty said, it's only the injuries with J.K. Dobbins. If the injuries ain't there, this guy is a very good, talented, serviceable running back. I think that the Broncos are more than comfortable just rolling with him right now. Now, I'm not saying I'm knocking RJ Harvey's talent long term. I think that he'll be a better asset down the road. But right now, it's not someone you want to trust and put in your fantasy lineups. Like, your only hope is that, like, the snap share he's seeing, that he pops off some kind of big play. Now, it could happen against Cincinnati, but I'm just going to go with the numbers here and say the snaps aren't there, the touches aren't there, and until I start seeing them go up, I don't care if the matchup's great. I just don't trust it enough to put him out there right now and get me 6 to 8 points. When I could have, some of these other guys we mentioned, have a little bit higher of a ceiling, and, then you're going to be really bummed out just because you wanted to play the flashy name value over some of these guys that maybe aren't so flashy, right? So go ahead and put RJ Harvey on the bench this week, guys. I think that until we see otherwise, that's where he's going to be. Any disagreement?
Not at all. And I'm impressed that, we're finally calling a spade a spade. I mean, we are seeing it with J.K. Dobbins. Ty, hammered it down to us, whistle to whistle, that like until someone takes J.K. Dobbins' legs away again, he is the Terminator, and he's going to, command respect in that backfield and be given that volume, because I don't think at this point in the season RJ Harvey is necessary for that offense. As much as, he's the new shiny toy there in Denver and they want to get him going, and we want as fantasy players to have him get integrated in this offense and start popping off like we see with Judkins and see with a little bit of Genty and Ham. Like, it doesn't fit right now, because why try to force him into that role when you got a perfectly good fantasy productive running back right now already doing that role? I mean, the only thing I can see for him to have even remotely of relevance in this game against the Bengals, if it gets so out of hand that they take out the first team and then he's just taking over the reps in the second half, maybe like a late third quarter, early fourth quarter. And at that point, you're hoping he just, gets into the end zone somehow and gets the volume there. I just don't. And I think he's better off used too for the rest of the year to have on your bench at first, unless if something changes. I mean, it's not adding up to a recipe for wanting to try to force him into your lineups, because there's a lot of volatility, there's a lot of risk, and not a lot of floor to be proven with his performances that justify why you should be even rolling him in a flex spot or even an RB2 spot at this stage. And I think that's a great call out. Even though it's juicy, you want to take advantage of these Bengals. be mindful that there's an alpha there in that running back field, and that's J.K. Dobbins.
Right. And we got to look at the legit numbers we see, and that's where we're at right now. So play the percentage, right? Sometimes you just got to play the percentage. That's where I'm at. And we have Derek asking here, okay, I have a legit question. 6-man full PPR league. Pick 3 to start in flex. Ashton Jenney, J.K. Dobbins, Ricky Pearsall, Quinshon Judkins, Brian Thomas, or Tet McMillan. So you get to pick 3 here, Teixeira. So I'm just going to sit here and say right now on this list, I am definitely playing Ashton Jenney this week going up against Chicago. Now, I'm not going to sit here and guarantee it's going to be great because, as Bob always says, it's the offensive line. But if he's going to get going, like you picked Ashton Jenney in hopes that he could be that guy, right? Like you almost have to give him the opportunity to do that for you this week. Now, if it's a bad week this week, if he can't get it done against a team like Chicago, then it's like, okay, maybe we'll just go ahead and sit him on the bench here a little bit and wait, be patient, wait for maybe see if we see some higher point totals. But I am definitely going to go with Jenney. My next pick is going to be J.K. Dobbins. We just talked about the Cincinnati Bengals defense. We just talked about R.J. Harvey. J.K. Dobbins is going to be the guy that gets the lion's share of the work. He's going to really benefit against that bad defense. I would say anytime touchdown scorer this week, J.K. Dobbins has got to be really high on the top of that list to me. He's got to be really up there because I think he's going to at least get one against this bad Cincinnati Bengals run defense. Now it comes down to this third one. Man, this is tough. But I think that I am going to have to lean, and I mean I'm just barely leaning Ricky Pearsall here. I love Quinshon Judkins. I love what he did against Green Bay. And I still think he could possibly do it against Detroit. It's still a rookie player.
Come on.
Look, if he does it again, I'll throw a block party here.
We all will. The network's
hear
going
me
nuts.
Oh, yeah, you wait. Mike thinks he's seen something. He'll really see something whenever that happens. But I'm just saying, like, I just look, if you had other options where it was like, I got to play Judkins, I'm definitely playing him. But you got some really good options here, right? Like, and we know Kittle's out. We know the rest of the 49ers receiver room's out. Christian McCaffrey is still there. He's still going to be the guy. But Ricky Pearsall is like wide receiver 16 or 18 right now. He's getting. Like I see Judkins like getting that 16-point range, maybe again, best case scenario, right? And if he does, I will go ballistically happy if that happens, right? I'll be like jumping off my roof. I'll be so excited. But let me just say this. But Pearsall is a guy that can get you almost 12 to 14 easy just based off situation right now and the fact that he's seeing so much volume. So I'm going to go Jenney, Dobbins, Pearsall. But, man, there are a lot of great options.
I think that's just a reflection of being a 6-man full PPR league. You got every team is basically a juggernaut at that point. But still, you have those parts in the lineups that you need to fill out. You need to round off to have a good matchup. I'm going to start off with J.K. Dobbins. I agree with all the points we put out earlier. I'm not going to nail it too far in the head. I think he's a solid play for a Monday Night Miracle as well. And I think he can get the job done for you in your lineup. So I think he's a solid running back too, and is certainly a flex. I mean, he's really pushing the argument of being an RB1 this year and being confidently put in that spot in your lineups. So J.K. Dobbins is my first one. The second one, I will take the rookie, but I'm going to take the other one. I'm going to go QB. I'm going to go Quinshon Judkins. Q is RB1 for you. I think that one half of my celebrations this weekend is going to be the Lions winning and doing good, and the other half is going to be if Judkins does good. Win situation for me, and I just like I don't think he's going to be like a juggernaut against the Lions by any means, but I think Derrick Henry is still able to do something against them. Josh Jacobs did something against the Lions, and even DeAndre Swift did some damage against the Lions in the passing game, and just in general, he had himself solid game. And I like the volume, the opportunity, and I like just the momentum going with Quinshon Judkins for a guy that we have also pointed out here on the network is that he didn't get that training camp. He didn't get that offseason work. And to be able to do that in a game and a half is remarkable compared to where these other running backs in the first round that we drafted in Ashton Jenney, they're off to slow starts and slow cooking. Like this guy is like working with the stove on high, and I think that he's definitely a focal point for the Lions to focus on this weekend to shut down more than those receiving options in the quarterback position and Joe Flacco. So I got him fired up in the second spot. And then the third one just changed because I got another update that Ted McMillan has been not practicing as much, and he didn't have a good practice so far this week because he's nursing an injury, and that worries me. Normally, I would like to play Ted McMillan here because he's got that rapport with Bryce Young. He's got a good matchup against the Patriots defense, and I think that he's just going to warrant that target hog, that opportunity for volume. But I'm going to lead Brian Thomas Jr. because I really am hoping for a big competitive game from the Jaguars, and I hope that this is the game that Trevor Lawrence stops with the overthinking or whatever it is and just get it to your alpha. Get it. It's kind of like how we saw it with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison this last night on Thursday night. I was watching the progression of the frustration of just like nothing's working, and my guy's having a bad game. He's not doing well. And by the second half, it all started to click, and you can see that there's still hope and there's still glimmer. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. can do it with Kyler Murray, I think there's a chance that Brian Thomas Jr. can kind of surprise us this weekend and have a respectable stat line. I think the ceiling is probably 14, 15 points, and maybe the floor is about 10. But at the same point, for what you've been getting to start the year with your wide receiver one, presumably, that's an upgrade. That's progress. That's positivity. That's something you want to see going forward. And I think if this game is going to be competitive between the Niners and the Jaguars, it's not going to be a Travis Etienne or a Tootin game running the football. I think the script is going to call for Trevor Lawrence to man up and get it to his number one receiving option, and Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, and just to say this to you, Derek, here, like you got so many good options. Like sometimes you can trap yourself and be like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? I will say that, everything Teeserja said, everything I said, I think you have legitimate argument for. Like you could go either of them routes. I feel good about a lot of these players. I do. But let me just say this right now. Like, I mean, J.K. Dobbins has to have one of those spots.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, me and Teeserja are in agreement. You got 3 spots. One thing for sure that I would do is give J.K. Dobbins one of them spots. Really, them other 2 spots, you want to go either route we laid out for you. I have no problem with it because I think that you're going to have decent fantasy opportunities with any of them guys. A lot of good matchups and a lot of big names, right? So I think that is a good recipe for success no matter what. And really, if all them guys kind of scored similarly, I wouldn't be shocked. So, but I do think that Dobbins has to be one of them for sure. I just think that he's got a really good chance to make some noise this week. We have a question from Dylan. 0-3, need to win this week. Full PPR. I feel for you, man. I've been there when you have it gets off to a rough start. There's nothing worse. Would you trade Chris Olave and Travion Henderson for Breece Hall, Ladd McConkey, and Matthew Golden? So let me ask you this first and foremost, Dylan. We'll come back to you in a second. Is this a dynasty league or is this a redraft league?
Just so we know. Context.
Yeah, full context. Is it dynasty or redraft? We'll answer it for you. We'll answer another question while we wait on his response. 12-man, half PPR, two flex, can be tight end. So Caleb Williams, Jenny, Pollard, Odunze, JSN, Jawan Johnson, Emeka Buka, Matthew Golden. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys there. There's a lot of guys there, man. So if you're sitting there, you want to have 2 in the flex. So I'm guessing you want to start 2 half point PPR flex, can be tight end. So he wants to start 1. So, man, I don't know, Teeserja, who are you looking at there on that list right now? Is it a super flex spot? Is it a super flex spot? Lapsky, is it a super flex spot? Yeah. Just curious. If it's super flex, that really is a good question. So Derek says, I subscribe. Thank you for the answers, guys. It's no, thank you. Like I said, man, we enjoy doing this with you guys. When you got time, hop in. Let's talk some ball. So we're just waiting on Lapsky. Lapsky, is it a super flex spot? Yes or no? Just curious where you're at on that. And we're also waiting on Dylan. Is it going to be dynasty or redraft? So if you guys give us that information, It's just really hard for us to answer unless we know everything. Like, we will give you the best answer we can. We just want to put you in the best spot possible based off of what your league's like. So if you guys want to answer that in the chat, go ahead. So again, it's a standard flex. Okay. So Lapsky's saying standard flex, and it is no super flex. So, okay. So that opens up for some options there, who he has. So let's look at this list again, who he has. I'm just looking right here, right now. If it's a standard flex, who are the guys you're considering starting, Lapsky? Because you have 12-man half-point PPR. I'm guessing this is your roster.
I think this
right
is the
here.
starting lineup.
Who's the guys who's the guy that you have? Who's the guys that you have for contention in that spot? Like, can you list those guys, and we'll go over that with you. And Dylan is asking here, full PPR, 2 flex. It's redraft. Ooh. So, okay, so we know he's redraft now. So let me just say this, Dylan. If this is redraft, I am going to hold on to Olave and TreVeyon Henderson. Because, look, we know, I think what a lot of people are doing right now in redraft leagues, we've seen Ramondre Stevenson have the 2 fumbles last week. We've seen Antonio Gibson fumble. I think a lot of people are trying to get in on TreVeyon Henderson before he gets the full workload. I think that's what we're seeing right now because, look, his value's still a little bit down in Dynasty and redraft just based off of snap share usage right now. But I think that that's going to go way up. And if it does go way up, I just don't see Breece Hall outperforming him right now with the way the Jets are and the way they're utilizing things. I mean, we've seen what they've wanted to do through 3 weeks, and we really haven't seen what TreVeyon Henderson's capable through 3 weeks, right? Yes. So that's kind of where I'm at right there. Golden, I like as a dynasty project, no doubt about it, but we can't trust the Green Bay Packer receiver room. So you could just be getting kind of a worthless piece throw-in type of a deal right there for this season in a redraft league. So that just takes me down to Olave and McConkey. And the big thing is with Chris Olave's health. If he is healthy, I mean, he's going to finish as a wide receiver too. He's 1 right now. I think he's wide receiver 23 or something right now.
Yeah, he's in the high 20s.
Yeah, he's getting a ton of volume. So I'm going to hold on to TreVeyon Henderson and Chris Olave to share. Do you feel any differently than me?
I like my ride or dies, though. So I think I'm leaning, for me, I'm sacrificing Henderson for Breece Hall as far as like what's going on there. And to me, I think this is a McConkey and Golden for Olave because I think Golden's going to come around. I think there's going to be like a later season push. I think he could be a fantasy playoffs darling once this Packers wide receiver room gets it around. I think at some point, this is the year it's going to get figured out. I mean, right now it's slow rolling and it's still ho-hum, but I think they invested their first round pick in Matthew Golden. I think they're going to try to make this work. I think when he's fully healthy, that there's going to be an emphasis on getting him going. And if I'm getting McConkey and Golden for Olave, I'm willing to sacrifice TreVeyon Henderson to acquire Breece Hall in the deal. As much as he's my ride or die and I like him, especially if it's two flex starts, so I can potentially start McConkey and Golden if the best case scenario plays out where I don't know what his options are outside of Olave in the flex, but like I like the volume with Olave and what he's been doing. But in redraft, I think I'm trying to win now, and I think that McConkey will start to come around and be flirting with those wide receiver 1 numbers that we'd like to have. And Golden's development that I think is going to get to where it's going to get. It's going to counterbalance the cost of giving up a TreVeyon Henderson, which I do like, I really want, but I also agree with you is right now people are trying to force that issue that it might not come as soon as you want it to, but it's this is close in general in redraft. This is really close. I just have my ride or die, my preferences, and I like Breece Hall is the best player in that deal for me.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's kind of the way it seems, but I just worry if TreVeyon is going to get the opportunities. Like, to me, he could be the best player in this deal. That's the only thing that makes me hesitate. But you're right to share. This is close. And he says, not trying to give up on Hendo, but I'm 0-3. I totally get it, man. And Teixeira made look, like he said, this is close, but this is the kind of trade that could backfire on you, right? So, like, I'm not saying it could or it will, but it could, So I'm just saying, and it might go in your favor. It's a risky business. I prefer the Henderson side by a hair. Teixeira prefers the Breece side by a hair. if you want to make the deal, sometimes, and I say this with redraft, sometimes you have to shake it up. I mean, you just have to. You have to take chances. So I don't ever sit here and begrudge anyone from trying to do anything. And the trade is close enough if you want to go that route.
Yeah,
I can't
think
blame
to
you. It's just, I'm
emphasize
just
too
a
is
little,
like you're more on a confidence level of your side of the trade, whereas I'm more taking on the risk and like the high explosiveness of these players and what they could be. But you're on the side of having the confidence of what you know it's trending in the patterns of what could happen and is more likely to happen than on the side that I'm advocating for, which it becomes down like a flip a coin that you choose which side you feel more comfortable with, because I think both sides of this deal are close enough where 0-3 you got to shake it up.
Oh, 100%. And then we have Lapsky here asking, okay, he's got his list. It's Golden, Ridley, Downs, or Bill. So looking at that right now, look, that isn't a real big appetizing list to me. Just based off volume, opportunity, who I know is going to touch the football the most, give me Bill.
Is he healthy though?
Right? Like, I mean, I think that he's going to go. Now, I was just going to get to that. If he's available to play, I'm going to go with Bill. And if he isn't available to play, I think I'll just go with Josh Downs. I don't know how you feel about that, Shara, but like that's who I like. That's the way I would approach it. If Bill's available, I just know he's going to touch the football the most. So go ahead and give me Bill. And then as far as, it's a volume thing, right? So give me Bill. But if he doesn't play, Downs, I think, would be the next guy in the pecking order.
100%.
So just wanted to share that. I think that was something, we wanted to get out there and kind of explain, between those two situations, the way we would be. But let's go into the wide receiver sits to share as we wait more questions here. We got a receiver that you have to sit down here in week 4. Who are you going to make sit the bench this week?
I don't want to hear the buzzer, TJ, but I feel that your finger is going to be hovering over it. I like this guy. I want him to succeed, but I want to put it out the community here to tread with caution. He hasn't played for his first 3 games, and the quarterback situation isn't necessarily ideal right now. And like I emphasized over on the 4 Quarters Face of the Franchise show, they're going overseas. We know what those kind of games have been traditionally trending like. So I am sitting Jordan Addison this week. I know the flash, and I get the fresh guy, the wide receiver out there who's ready to go and ready to get going. But I think the cap and the ceiling is too drastic for you to put him in your lineups just quite yet. I think you need to wait and see it for a week, maybe 2, because these international games, I'm just not confident there's a ceiling there for Jordan Addison just quite yet, because I think they're going to try to get TJ Hawkinson going. They got to get Justin Jefferson his, because he's seeing him be a little bit frustrated and he's having a slower start. And Jordan Mason is just being a monster right now in the backfield. So I don't think the playbook lends or gravitates towards Kevin O'Connell trying to force a new piece into this offense to try to get some sort of edge into the game plan. I think it's going to be a run first, run heavy game script for the first one against the Steelers, because as TJ's mentioned it profusely, is that the Steelers have a trouble and a hard time with stopping the running game. And I think that Jordan Addison's ceiling here is maybe 10 points. It sucks to say, but just tread with caution, guys. I know you're so eager to get him in your lineups. You might be hurting with injuries, but just have tempered expectations is what I'm saying. For me, I'm sitting him and waiting and seeing. That's where I'm at.
And you know what? I don't hate you for it, to share. I love Jordan Addison. I do. I do. But I mean, look, it is expectations, right? He's coming back. We don't know what his snap share usage is going to be. I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Jordan Mason from the Vikings. Carson Wentz is someone that isn't going to have this crazy A-dot downfield, but you still have Justin Jefferson that's going to get his. And I think TJ Hawkinson, a guy that he targeted a lot last week, is a guy that we're going to see him throw more to. So it's just going to be tough and a lot to ask for Addison coming back here, in this game, week 4, first start of the season. So I don't mind that. Just wait, be patient. I think there'll be better Jordan Addison days ahead. And I think that's just being wise. It's being sound. But we got a question that we're going to answer here right after I give my wide receiver sit. I'm going to do it very quickly. T. Higgins with the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Denver Broncos. I am not, and Bob talked about this, even from a dynasty setting. He is someone I'm just looking to move and really not Ross. He's just want to talk about, like, I think when everyone's healthy for the Bengals, he is a better asset for Cincinnati from an NFL perspective than what he's giving us for fantasy football. Sure, you could get the boom game every once in a while, but this Denver Broncos defense ain't no cupcake. And let me just say this, man. I mean, the quarterback situation, we know it. Like, I'm just not trusting Jake Browning after what I've seen through 2 games to really push T to be super, super relevant. I think if anything, he is going to really force it to Jamar Chase more than anyone. So I'm not starting T. Higgins, guys. Unfortunately, it's just not a good look this week for him. But Grant is asking, hey, I need to bench 1. Kyron Williams, Amari Hampton, Breece Hall, Drake London, A.J. Brown, Zay Flowers. So out of that list, Teeserja, who are you going to bench this week out of that group? Because that is a lot of good players, and that is a tough decision, no doubt.
It's full PPR.
Full PPR.
I think I'm going to go... I'm going to follow my strategy, my trend of what I'm doing with my lineups this week, and I'm fading Omari and Hampton. I think I'm benching him. I think it's going to be a Justin Herbert game, a Ladd McConkey game. Like you were saying earlier, I think this is going to tend to the passing, and I think the odd man out in this offense is going to be Omari and Hampton. I don't see them getting close for goal line touches, and I don't see him breaking a big one and having much opportunity to have a ceiling type of a game. I mean, if this was standard, I'd be leaning, this is scary, but I'd be leaning Drake London this week because I'm nervous. I mean, if we had a panic button here on the network, I'd be definitely hitting it on this Drake London and T. Higgins, these 2 wide receivers, because it is not looking good. Because I watched every snap of that Vikings game. I don't know if he's still coming off of the injury, but he is not getting the targets or looked at by Penix, and he's not getting the volume like we saw in those last 3 games of the season before. And it's very alarming for that stagnant Falcons offense.
Yeah, and what makes this hard, right? Because he's got some good players, but some good players that are going to be like boom or bust some weeks, right? Like A.J. Brown, we've seen it. He had the boom last week, right? So, like, you're happy about that. But I'm going to go Drake London.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I mean, it is very tough. Yeah, honestly, he was one of the ones I was looking at here because, if you couldn't do anything against Carolina, I mean, that does not give me confidence going into this week. I know Washington's down their quarterback and things like that, but man, it is tough. And, he says on here, my thought was Breece over Zay at flex due to matchup. I just feel there's too much upside to bench Hampton. Look, I mean, he's going to get a lot of looks. There's no doubt about it. But, it's just going to be one of them things. I think that there's always going to be an odd man out in the Chargers offense. So I think that's why, with Teeserja saying that, I can definitely back him up. But to me, Grant, it's up to you. I mean, Zay could be a little hit or miss as well. And, I don't mind putting Zay on the bench, but I give Breece Hall one more chance this week. If it doesn't
blame me if it doesn't work out. I give you guys full blessing. He's my ride or die. If it doesn't work out this week, I have him as my starter of the week, so you can blame me.
But Teeserja is saying, he's going to go with Hampton. I'm going to go with London. I don't trust Penix in this offense until I see something a little bit different. But anytime, thank you for tuning in, man, and thank you for sharing. We love answering these questions, and you guys come at us with some difficult ones. So it is a lot of fun. But it is. But let's go into the tight ends here. Teeserja, tight end, you are going to be sitting down here for week 4.
I'm going to go with a guy that's probably not surprising. You probably invested lowly on off the waiver wire because he had that flash in the pan week 1 or week 2, I think it was. But it's Jake Tongs. I just don't. I think the shine has worn off of that toy there, and I think that it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. For as much as they've struggled, they've played really well against the opposing team's tight ends. And I don't think that Tongs is going to have much of a ceiling or opportunity or volume in this game. I think it's going to be one of those games where TJ alluded to, where you go to your aces, and that's Christian McCaffrey and that's Ricky Pearsall. I think that Purdy is going to rely on those 2 assets in that offense, and that the tight end position, because Kittle isn't there, it's just going to be faded. It's going to be irrelevant. See like a high. See, I don't even see him getting double digits. I think maybe he gets into the end zone, but that's like a red zone target for like a catch for 4 yards and a touchdown. And you got sitting there with 7-8 points, and you're like, well, that saved my lineup from a giant goose egg. I mean, you're not expecting anything highly of him, so I think that's low hanging fruit as far as the tight end position goes. But I know I've gotten a lot of questions about previously last week of what do I do? Do I drop him to win? Like, what is going on with him? And I am safe to say that it's probably because it's just not adding up with Brock Purdy. He does, unless he got George Kittle, I don't think he tends to lean on the tight end position outside of that.
Yeah, I like to call out to Shara. I'll give my tight end, and we got another question here. And my tight end, I'm going to be sitting down here for week 4 is Zach Ertz going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Look, we know no Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels loves this guy. I mean, they have a great connection going on, but the Falcons are really tough, man. This season, they have allowed just 48 yards and haven't given up a single touchdown to the tight end position. So very, very stingy. And we know Ertz is a little bit older. We have a backup quarterback in there. And, we do this because, look, it's easy for us to say, sit this guy, with tight ends. But, how it is to share. We talked about it. You stream for guys. You're digging for the bottom of the barrel. These are the guys we want to talk about. So go ahead and sit down, Zach Ertz. I don't have great confidence going up against this Atlanta Falcons team who's been very, very stingy against tight ends with no Jaden Daniels available for the Commanders. But Tingley asks here, hey, should I start Baker or stream Caleb for Fields? It's a 4-point pass TD league. I have to drop either Baker or Andrews to pick up other QB, got Jawan at tight end. So there you go, Teixeira. 4-point passing TD. Would you start Baker? Because, look, that has to come into effect because we know he's not the most mobile guy, but, if the touchdown ain't there, his point total is going to be pretty low. We know Caleb and Fields have a little bit higher rushing ceiling. So what are you going to do in this scenario?
I'm going to go and stick with my creed. You start your studs. I'm going to start Baker Mayfield this week against the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I alluded to earlier in the show, they're gonna make a statement here. They're gonna show at home against the Super Bowl champs that they can hang, that they can play. And the one guy that I'm not betting against in this game is Baker Mayfield because he's shown already with 3 weeks under his belt that he's been a part of the game-winning drive to keep his team where it's at. Like, he's clutch. I know it's only 4-point pass TD, but that man finds a way. And if you haven't believed in him now, you're going to be able to believe in him after this week when he has a great game. I don't like the idea of dropping Baker or Mark Andrews in this league. I prefer Mark Andrews over Juwan Johnson, but that's just more of a dynasty perspective. I think he holds more value than Juwan Johnson, and Baker Mayfield holds a lot more value in even a super flex dynasty league. It's crazy that Caleb or Fields are on the waiver wire at this point in your season. I would try to make way to find a way to get them on your lineups and try to find someone else to drop just so you have that. Even if you have Baker as your 1 and Caleb as your 2 and Fields as your 3, I think those are 3 quarterbacks you like to have on your rosters in Dynasty going forward, having that. Because I'm like you, TJ. I like to have at least 3 quarterbacks on my teams when I'm going through the season to have.
Yeah, 100%. And let me just say this. I agree with Teixeira. If I could, I'm not dropping Andrews or Baker. I don't want to drop either of them guys. But let me just say this. If you can make a move, I would really like to start Caleb this week. I would. We have 2 quarterback 1 finishes out of him right now. He has that rushing upside. If you look at the schedule, right, it's a lot of green pastures, a lot of green light matchups coming up for Caleb Williams. So what I would suggest right now, Tingley, I would stick with Baker if I couldn't move some of my players or drop someone else. If you could trade Mark Andrews and maybe something else and get another star-studded player, maybe try to do that, the old 2 for 1, then you create more roster space, try that. But if I can't get a deal done like that, I can't drop Andrews either. We just seen him come on last week. He's traditionally a slow starter. That's just the way Mark Andrews is. And I think it only gets better. So if I can do something a little bit different and I can get Caleb, then I'm going to make that move. But if not, I think I just hold on to what I got and hope Baker can do enough this week because I just can't in good conscience drop either of them guys, to pick up a quarterback for a 1 week start, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at. But Grant said also did a big trade. Opinions. I gave up Lamar, Benson, BTJ for Hurts, Hampton, and also hurt as a Ravens fan. Well, let me just say this. I mean, so I'm assuming this is redraft. I'm assuming this is redraft here. But I mean, if this is redraft, I think, yeah, if this is redraft, I think you did well, Grant. I do. I mean, I think just getting those players, I think you did well. So I will give you credit that because I think Hurts and Lamar
I feel
from
like
a fantasy.
hurting.
Yeah. Like, I mean, long term, it hurts giving up BTJ and Lamar. But I'm just saying, like, in redraft, getting Hurts and Lamar, that is very close. I mean, Hampton is an upgrade over Benson, in my opinion. And, just getting Zay right now, redraft. Good job. You did. It was a great trade. Great trade. And we have Brian asking, would you trade JSN for Tet and Golden in redraft? So no, I would not, Brian, not in redraft.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I like Golden the player. I do. I mean, I'm watching film. This guy can play, and I think he's going to make some noise at some point. But right now, I don't trust the Green Bay Packers wide receiver room the way it is. And, he still is a rookie. I think in Green Bay especially, we see that. You really got to earn your stripes. Teixeira can attest to that. The Steelers got to do that as well. You're not going to get on the field right away. And, man, JSN is just that guy right now. So just keep JSN. I think you'll be doing well with that. And, look, sometimes you get the old 2-for-1ers and they make sense. But in this instance, you keep JSN. I think you're doing way, way better, my friend. But let's go into the Dabble Fantasy. Start of the week and the Dabble Fantasy Sit of the Week brought to you by Dabble Fantasy. As you all know, Dabble Fantasy, great sponsor here to Dynasty DNA, up-and-coming daily fantasy app. You guys can get over there. They have higher lowers, all kinds of great prop bets, all kinds of great things over at Dabble Fantasy. Go over and use it. Use a promo code DNA4 as a first-time user, and they'll give you $10 in free play and just for signing up. I mean, you get a free $10 crack at it. So go ahead and give that a try. But Teixeira, your Dabble Fantasy start of the week, who are you going with this week?
I'm going with James Cook, running back of the Buffalo Bills, playing at New Orleans Saints this weekend. I think this is a game script that caters to him and his talents. And I think with inside the dome, weather is not an issue. And I think that the Bills will have this game well in hand, and that will lend to a higher ceiling and a higher performance coming from James Cook. I like to have him with at least 2 touchdowns, hit the century mark, and about 4 catches for about 45 yards. I'm having a ceiling of 30 points for him and a floor of 25.
I like the call to share. I really do. So let's go over here to my Dabble Fantasy start of the week. And, there was a plethora of options I could go with here, but I am going to go back to the well one more time. Give me Ricky Pearsall going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, because I'm telling you right now, look, Jacksonville, big disappointment. I know that, there's some issues going on with the 49ers offense, but look, Mac Jones has been very, very serviceable. Anyone with Kyle Shanahan's been very serviceable. I just think that Pearsall is going to be that guy that I love him. He's that guy can get you 16, 14 points pretty easily based off reception volume. And I think he visits the end zone this week. So give me Ricky Pearsall for 22 big ones going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. So Teixeira, Dabble Fantasy Sit of the Week. Who are you putting down for the Dabble Fantasy Sit of the Week this week?
We kind of alluded to it earlier, but I'm going DJ Moore of the Chicago Bears. I just think that it's too many mouths to feed in that Chicago Bears offense. I think Caleb has Rome Odunze's eye and vice versa. They're looking at each other lovingly, and I think that he's just the odd man out right now. I can see Cole Kmet kind of taking up, having a few receptions. I have a floor for DJ Moore of 10 points with a ceiling of probably, I'll be generous, I'll be nice to the Bears. I'll give them a ceiling of 16 points, but I don't like the possibilities. I think there's a trend going on, and when there's smoke, there's fire, how you like to say. And I think this bust, like this boomy busty kind of recipe for DJ Moore is still going to keep showing itself and reveal itself more and more as the season goes along.
Okay, so Teixeira going to go with DJ Moore. So my Dabble Fantasy Sit of the Week is going to be Aaron Rodgers with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I do not like the Steelers' chances this week going up against Minnesota. Me being a Steelers fan, it kills me to say that. But I mean, we see Jaylen Warren kind of down with this little injury thing going on right now. He's a big part of what Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith likes to do. So I can't go with them. So I'm going to sit down Aaron Rodgers this week. It kills me, but I do think if Warren don't play, that is a really, really big deal. So I'm not going to take that risk. I think if I had to stream a quarterback, I'd stream in different directions. So that's the route I'm going to go there. We have a couple questions here. We have Big Rice Ball says, lost CD, traded ETN for Tet. Start 2 QBs this week. T-Law, Dak, Jackson, Dart. So you got to start 2 QBs, Teixeira. T-Law, Dak, or Jackson, Dart. Who are you starting?
I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence and Dak Prescott. And the premise is I want to see it first with Jackson Dart before I'm confident just throwing him in my matchups, especially if I'm sitting there at 1-2 and like I need a win. I don't think I can rely right now on the rookie to get that done. I like the matchup for Dak, throwing the ball around and hyper targeting his tight end Jake Ferguson and having a serviceable game for himself. And I think Trevor Lawrence has a serviceable game for himself too. I like the upside of Jackson Dart with his mobility and his legs compared to these two other quarterbacks. But again, playing against that Chargers defense, your first start, I think it's going to take a little bit to get going. And I don't think his ceiling is as high as what Dak's or Trevor Lawrence is going to be.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Teixeira. Give me Trevor Lawrence and Dak as well. Tingley asks, I'd like to pick up one of the QBs, but not sure who to drop. 10-team PPR redraft, 2 flex. Got Baker, H.N. Dobbins, Garrett Wilson, Pearsall, Trey Benson, DeAndre Swift, Juwan Johnson, bench, Chase Brown, CD, Rice, Godwin, Mark Andrews, Evans, IR, and kicker defense. So, like, if it's me, Tingley, like this, obviously, I'm dropping Trey Benson. I don't know how you feel about that. Is who I am dropping. I've never been a high believer. I mean, he's someone I think that you should took advantage and sell while you had the opportunity. So, like, to me, I think that makes the most sense. And I have no problem doing that considering, you know, some of the backs that you got there. Like, I feel good. I feel comfortable with what you have. And it seems like there's some good players out there on the waiver wire. So you can continue to play the wire. So, yeah, I would drop Trey Benson. And I'm not too concerned.
The QB I would take that he was talking about earlier is Caleb Williams over Justin Fields. That's the one I'd pick up.
Yeah, me too. Give me Caleb, drop Trey Benson, then I feel good about that. Then Grant says, if Drake London has a dud this week, should I try to move him? If so, who are some guys to target at wide receiver? And being that it's redraft, Grant, I said this, right? Like, it's very hard to move guys that are underperforming in a redraft league unless you're trying to buy an underperforming asset. So, like, if it's me, I said this before, like, to another fan listener of the show, give me Michael Pittman 1 for 1 if someone's willing to do that. Now, that might be tough, but go ahead and do that. I would take Michael Pittman. Also, go ahead and give me Brian Thomas Jr. Like, if I want to shake it up, maybe like Teixeira said, Malik Neighbors is out there, been a little bit disappointing. I wouldn't mind trying that as well. So, like, you almost got to go for one of them guys in hopes that you have a resurgence to shake it up, right? Someone else that's underperforming, 1-for-1 trade, I would do things like that, some moves like that. To share any disagreement or anyone you have,
I have one in mind that you could add. If someone is getting impatient, their season is like 1-2, 0-3. It's redraft. Just win now. Maybe swap. I would take the risk. If he has another dud game, I would take the risk and maybe try to swap London and a package needed, like a running back 3 or a wide receiver 3 or 4 there. Rashee Rice. If the owner that has him is getting impatient and needs wins now and can't wait another week or two, but you're sitting okay, you just have this dud right here of a Drake London in your lineup, just burning a hole in your matchups. Maybe try to move him, and you guys got to get Rashee Rice last week, as soon as now, and try to get him in your lineups, because as soon as he's back, he's already in the facility. He's not able to practice, but he's back in. He's in getting the wheels starting to go, and I think it's just going to be, he's going to pop right off the minute he gets on that field.
100%. Love the Rashee Rice call out. He says some of his league mates aren't the brightest and lots want London. Take advantage of it, man. Take advantage of it. And let me just say this, Grant, and if you have any other questions, a couple of options you can do. You can join the Dynasty DNA Discord. If you want that link, you can drop it. You can ask any of us anytime certain trades, or follow us on Twitter at DynastyDNA_. You can private message over there. Or Teeserja has the Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football Podcasting Network's Facebook page up and running. So, yeah, if you guys want to join that, would love to have you. But our door is always open. So he said he just traded Rice. I'm 0-3, so I got you. I got you there. Yeah, no, he's 0-3. I know it hurt, but I needed to win now. I get it. Sometimes you have to make moves, but like we said, if you guys want to make some trades or want to talk about it and you don't have us here on YouTube Live or anything like that, join the Dynasty DNA Discord. If you want the link, just ask for it. Or, the Facebook Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football Podcasting Network, it's over there. Or Twitter, Dynasty DNA_. We're always available. Doors always open. Or comment on one of the previous videos. We'll see it. We'll respond to you as soon as possible. Doors always open. We appreciate you guys. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to us on YouTube. We've been seeing the numbers grow up. We appreciate you guys. We love talking with you. And, it's a lot of fun doing these shows. And no, thank you guys. I mean, a lot of people say thank you, and we do appreciate that. But thank you guys. It's been awesome. But let me just say this. If you are enjoying the content and you haven't yet, follow us and 5-star us on all podcasting networks, Spotify, Apple Pod, Stitcher, Amazon, any of the big podcasting platforms. We're all over there. And if you are enjoying it, go check us out over there. You can see all the full shows on the Dynasty DNA Podcasting Network over there. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Dynasty DNA on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Dynasty DNA_. Follow us on Facebook, Dynasty DNA Fantasy Football Podcasting Network on Facebook. I know I speak for Teeserja, everyone here at the Dynasty DNA Network, when we say we hope you guys have a great, great weekend ahead of you. Good luck in your Week 4 matchups. And we will see you all on the next